Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's join Jakal for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answer today's question. What has been your child's experience with AI as a teaching tool, Jakal?
All right, so we do have a response here from Edna in Montego Bay. Let's hear from her to see what she has to say.
Good morning, morning, watch. Good morning, everyone listening and stuff. AI for me is a very interesting tool. I've used it. I've done online study through Internet Income Jamaica and NCB Foundation level program where we're taught to use AI, chat GPT, yeah? And it's very interesting. It helps you to create things and write whatever you want to write. You ask for assistance from AI. What you don't understand, you can ask AI to help you. AI is there as a helper, not to fully take over. We have to do our work. AI can be accurate and it can be inaccurate. So we have to proofread what we get from AI, edit it also, and use it.
Thank you so much, Edna, and that was her response.
Well, we move right into the second watch as the migration of some of Jamaica's finest teachers continues. We have situations where those who are still here are oftentimes complaining. Some will say that they are stressed. Some say that they are tired. Some say that they are frustrated. And the evidence of the stress and being tired and the frustration are very evident. And the suggestion is that artificial intelligence, AI, may be needed as a solution to some of that or all of that. The question is, will it really relieve a lot of the challenges teachers have? Is AI already a part of the future of teaching in Jamaica? Are we ready to go full out on this? In other words, are we ready to go full speed ahead? Are we ready to go all the way with this? Well, go all the way in terms of having it assist. We have as our guest this morning to discuss this a math tutor, Royal Math Solutions. His name is Prince Royal. We also have Richard Dennison. Richard Dennison is a former systems analyst, New York Times, Apple Inc., and United Digital Artists. Mr. Dennison and Mr. Royal, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Morning, everybody.
Now, I suppose AI will not solve the salary issue that some teachers have. Clearly not. But arguably, it can assist some teachers with getting their work done. Now, are we ready for this? Teachers, parents, students? Let me start with Prince Royal. And there's also the deeper question as to whether AI will be replacing a math tutor as opposed to just helping a math tutor. Why do we need Mr. Royal to physically come on a platform or physically go in front of students when you can just watch a video where there might be someone speaking an AI-generated object or figure using the same technology that deepfake uses or something like that to teach a child math? Go ahead, Prince Royal.
All right, thank you. As it relates to the question of are we ready? We've already been using some artificial intelligence in classes in schools across Jamaica. In the form of, I had a professional development when I was at Wolmer's for using gamified ways like Kahoot to keep the children interested in the lesson. And as it relates to replacing a teacher or a tutor, artificial intelligence is not, I don't think it's meant to replace.
No. I'm not talking about what it's meant to do. I'm talking about what it can do ultimately. But go ahead, Mr. Roy.
In terms of ultimately replacing an actual person, there are certain nuances that, an actual human will be able to access for the student that the artificial intelligence can't actually reach. there are cultural situations and influences that a real person might be able to actually connect with a student on, where the artificial intelligence can't actually get to that.
Well, hold that thought one moment, Mr. Roy, because I want to bring in Mr. Dennison. But before I bring in Mr. Dennison, can't the AI be sort of tailored to fit the cultural situation in a given region or territory? Because you can train the AI to do what you want it to do. But Mr. Dennison, any comments?
You are correct. AI can be trained, and not only trained but embodied. As you mentioned, as was mentioned in an article recently, they have robots or classroom, small-sized robots that can be brought into a classroom to basically embody the functionality of an AI for children and teachers to use and interact with. So there's that possibility on the horizon and already partially here.
And by the way, in terms of the topic itself, not to go off topic, in terms of AI assisting teachers, how does it actually work and how does it help? Mr. Dennison, before we head to the break.
Right. Just for the benefit of your listeners, let me explain what AI is in a nutshell so that they understand, fully what it is. AI is a game changer, potentially the likes of which humanity has never seen. It has that potential. Imagine the smartest person in the world who knows maybe all there is that humans have, discovered about a particular subject, embodying that knowledge base and being able to give you answers in a natural language setting. So you'd be speaking it no different than the conversation we're having here now. But get accurate answers for the most part, because there is a problem at this moment of what's called hallucinations in AI, where the AI may give you an answer confidently that is incorrect. So it is not quite at the stage yet where we can fully release the ability out there for people to take access of, without that caveat being made aware of that. You do have to kind of double check. But it's getting better every day. So yeah.
Well, that thought 1 second. I think we're upon a break.
Sure.
Listen, please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the second watch, and the topic is: will AI, artificial intelligence, rescue overworked teachers? Mr. Dennison, our guests are Prince Royal, a math tutor, Royal Math Solutions, and Richard Dennison, former systems analyst, New York Times, Apple Inc., United Digital Artists. Mr. Dennison, you're making a very interesting point just before the break. Would you please continue? You are defining AI for us.
Sure. And one of the things you should bear in mind, AI is definitely going to be incorporated in the education space. That's one of the targets for sure. And it has the ability to tailor right down to the individual student's need. You could, in effect, feed it all the information you have about a student, and based on its knowledge of all students, or many, broad swath of students that's been fed into it, it can then discern, particular learning habits or patterns or whatever is required far better than a human can, because again, it just has that capacity and that knowledge base to effectively deliver these solutions. So initially, I do believe it will be an aid to teachers, and a great aid, because it can take over first mundane tasks, tasks like grading and so on, freeing up the teacher's time to then provide more focus on the individual students. But eventually, it is foreseeable that it could effectively take over, and some of the regional and cultural patterns that are currently necessary for teacher-student interaction can indeed be learned by an artificial intelligence.
Now, something that you just said, Mr. Dennison, which might appear unrelated, but it's not. You can train the AI or have the AI understand the student in detail, how that student learns, etc., which essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Dennison, does that mean that you have to sort of, as it were, upload information about that student to the AI? Am I correct or am I wrong?
That is correct. Where possible, as much as the AI can be fed information, it learns from that information. And because human beings are, we're patterned individuals, there are certain trends within humanity that the AI can detect and work within those parameters to deliver effective solutions. So that's kind of the strength of it, is that it has that ability to discern things that, to our brains are not easily seen. And this is being applied right across the scope, from medicine to technology to music to art, etc.
So the question for the parent and even the child: do you want your child's behavior patterns, character, personality, as it were, to be learned by the AI? Do you want this information uploaded to a system? That's a question which has ethical considerations. Any comments on that, Mr. Dennison?
Sure. I would say, this is where we're headed in terms of, how much of our lives and our, selves do we want put into some system, right? Now, it's a trade off because you want the benefit, clearly, right? But, a loss of some privacy may be required to achieve that. And we're already in that domain, to be honest, with our use of the internet. Every time you use an app and you're not paying for it, you're teaching it something about yourself that is being used by the app provider to sell that data to people who want to sell you goods or pattern your behavior, etc. So it's already been happening from the advent of social media till now. The question is, how much deeper do we go? Because yes, AI will take that a much further, greater step forward in terms of the invasiveness of it. But again, for the trade-off of the benefit.
Yes. I don't think when many persons started to use social media years ago that they knew that their information was being used the way that you have described. But
hidden in the fine print, sir.
somewhere in the
Don't
fine
read it. Yeah.
when you click accept, you didn't read what you were accepting.
Yeah, exactly.
Prince Royal, rescuing overworked teacher. If you are an overworked math tutor, how do you think AI can help you?
Well, you have to understand why you'd actually say you're overworked. What are the tasks that you're actually taking on or doing that makes it seem like it's overwhelming, it's too much? As Richard already mentioned, the administrative tasks that a teacher would have to undergo, as well as teaching, as
Such as
well as
such as keeping the register.
register, grading, assessments, and
Okay.
of course, you also have to produce reports on the child's behavior as well as their performance, how they're actually improving, etc. Right?
Okay.
All of those tasks compile and make it almost impossible for teachers to effectively do those tasks,
How
especially
can
with a large number of students.
how can AI help to make that process seamless, less laborious for the math tutor or any tutor?
Well, it's already been mentioned again through automation of those tasks.
Yes, but
Because,
break it down for the listener. In other words, you need to generate a report. Normally, you would sit and type it.
mhm.
So
So
where did information come from now?
feeding the information into the database for the AI to utilize. That is feeding the information about the students' attendance,
Okay.
about their grades, about their, well, the grades will actually create analytics about improvements and all of that automatically through the AI already. And it would just compile that information for you,
And then
and
maybe
it
you
can generate the report for you as well.
might then click a button that says generate report,
And that's it.
and the report comes out.
Hmm.
Interesting. Mr. Dennison, any thoughts, any comments?
Yes, and that's great. But what they may be creating going forward is customized AIs for the task at hand, right? So it's possible to work with it now, but you have to understand how to prompt the AI correctly with the questions or the information you're feeding it to get the kind of answers and responses you want. And this is just across the board, so not just limited to education. Any work you're doing out there where it requires you to produce documents or even images now, you can create music with it. You can do a lot of things. It's really a game changer in enhancing human abilities and capabilities at this point in time. This is rapidly changing and swinging often more in the direction of the AI. So it's not unforeseeable a day when AI will take over a lot of what we're doing. No, and for those humans who wish to use it as a tool or to retain some human component to their work, then that would be a choice, not a must. But yes, I would recommend to all the listeners here, start learning about AI. Definitely get your kids involved in it. It's a lot of resources on the internet for either creating images, sounds, video, or creating documents that you can utilize today, right now, right after the show. Yes.
I want to raise this because I just saw a comment to say that some of what we're talking about in terms of using AI to help us produce reports and so on itself looks like a lot of work. And I'll give an example. I tutor part-time at one of the tertiary institutions in Jamaica. And when we went online, I actually found that going online was more work than when I was teaching students face-to-face. It felt like more work to me. It didn't feel like less work. You know, you have to make more effort to be that much more interactive with students because almost everybody's camera is off. And you don't know if they're even hearing you. You don't know if they're learning anything. I'm not saying that's the ultimate experience of AI, but certainly it was something that was introduced or done because you had these situations during the COVID restriction period where you had to be doing a lot of online teaching, online learning was being, etc. So I personally found it was not as easy as it appeared on the surface. I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, Mr. Royal, as a math tutor. Do you find that, in a sense, maybe you are creating some more work than you you thought you were taking away work, but in some cases you're actually creating more work for yourself? I don't know if you have anything to say on that.
Certainly, it can actually seem that way, but it is a developing concept. So it's actually in development right now. So certainly there's going to be a learning curve. But I believe at the point when you actually get comfortable and you're in the groove.
I'm not talking about the comfort, I'm talking about because remember, if you're teaching someone something, you want to make sure that they're learning.
Right.
And sometimes you find it difficult to ensure that the person is learning if you don't know what the feedback is.
But if I may, Stokeley, sorry, if I may, you may want to separate two things. The interaction between yourself and the students is a separate piece from the use of AI, because you can incorporate AI in the classroom with the students. The AI may be something new, but human beings will always be human beings until we, enhance ourselves somehow, right? So, the idea of a social construct around, the act of teaching still requires, I think, personally, your presence in the classroom with the students there to fully engage their senses, all of them, right? However, AI will be beside you in the classroom, either embodied in a robot or, on your phone or, some system in the classroom present to assist you in interacting with those students, in answering questions or in doing work behind the scenes when you have their homework to correct or if you want to prepare tests and all that. Because remember, this is a system that knows everything about a subject that humans have created, potentially. So it knows when you prompt it with just and the learning curve is not great, really. Natural language processing is what made it easy. So you can talk to it as if you were talking to me. And just as if I was to say, okay, Stokeley, if you were the AI, I'd like to have a test that test children about, let's say mathematics, tailored to a 5-year-old. And it will just spit the information out. You then review it as the expert, human expert. You'll see that it meets the parameters, that it's as accurate it can be. And all that work you'd have had to do and all those steps leading up to that point have already been handled by the AI. So you can just tailor what you've already received. Yes.
I guess we weren't using AI
properly.
No, not properly. That's a negative word. We weren't using it in the way that Mr. Dennison just outlined.
So,
if I may add, we were using technology to bridge the gap in that period of time. But Mr. Royal, go ahead.
He mentioned prompts earlier, right? Yes. And it's genuinely that is what we need to actually learn at this moment in time, how to properly prompt the AI to get exactly what we want from it.
Yes.
Right? So he gave the example of asking for a particular lesson for a 5-year-old, and it will produce exactly that information that would really appeal to that 5-year-old, right? And
a 5-year-old in Jamaica versus a 5-year-old in New Zealand.
Literally say to the AI, as he said a while ago,
a 5-year-old Christian, you want to make a Sunday school lesson, a 5-year-old Christian child.
Yes.
But you raise a good point, though, Stokeley. And let me make this clear. We, as Jamaicans and the government of Jamaica, need to make sure that AI training incorporates Jamaica. Because that's right. What the AI doesn't know, it doesn't know. So that's a very important piece that we need to rapidly move on to make sure that there's inclusiveness
I
of,
am
you know,
no,
yeah.
we could
So
go
sure.
on forever. Very, very lively, very interesting discussion. I want to thank Mr. Royal and Mr. Dennison for being here with us in this second watch. Really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time and for your thoughts. And thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we go to other topic and controversial issues, and visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. And of course, it's the morning watch on our Love 101 app. Download it today and stay connected to the family station, Love 101 FM, the #1 gospel station in Jamaica. And this has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests. I am Stokeley Marshall, handing back love in the morning with Chukal.